Okay. Hey YouTube, it's Golisha coming back to you with another chit chat. I am here to talk about Kevin Samuels. I just wanted to say that I was completely wrong about him. In all honesty, I want to take back what I said. First of all, I mean, not to bash anyone, he is completely out of pocket. Like, everything that he says, okay, I'm not going to say everything that he says because there's some truth in what he's saying, but a lot of the things that he says is just completely out of pocket and out of order. He's a damaged man, and that's just it, point blank period. He talks about women as if the world doesn't need women at all. From what he talks about, you can tell that this man probably either didn't have a mother or had a mother that treated him badly. And he's been hurt by all the women because he's only attracted damaged women. And I'm all for people teaching our congregation about, relationships and things like that, but he's just going about it completely in the wrong way. And let me tell you why I think so. First of all, anybody who sits in here in the comments, who goes down in my comment section talking about, oh, it's another Kevin Samuels hater and you don't know what you're talking about, Kevin Samuels is the truth, you're only saying that because you're a damaged man. And trust me, we all got problems, but I just have an issue with those who have problems and don't want to admit that they have problems. It's like, we are in a time of healing. We are in a time where it's necessary. It's not only necessary, it's a requirement. It is essential. It is critical that we heal right now. It is critical that we go within and look within ourselves and figure out the problems. Why do we attract the men that we attract? Why do we attract the women that we attract? I'm gonna bash Kevin Samuels for bashing women just like I would bash any other women's YouTube channel that bashes men. And it's just like, okay, I'm sitting here talking about Kevin Samuels and not the other women who bash men, but Kevin Samuels is the one with the biggest audience of people who bash people, like who bash women. And I feel like that needs to be corrected, especially a man of his caliber should know better. So as a man, I feel like you should know better than to come on here preaching that, oh, men, you don't need women, this, and that. Look, I get it. You want to embrace men and raise their confidence. There's nothing wrong with that, but what's wrong is the way that you go about doing it. The way that he judges women on the show without getting their full story, and I know that there's not enough time in a day to get somebody's full story, but the way that he judges them and says that it's going to be impossible and doesn't really help them with what they're wanting to be helped with, it's like you can tell that his main goal is just to bash women and lift up men in an unhealthy fashion. Point blank period. Bashing women is not the way to go. Bashing women is not the way to heal our people, or heal as a people and heal as a person on your own. Bashing other people isn't the way to go. Pointing the finger at everybody else is not the way to go. You got to look at yourself. Why do you feel this way about women? Why do you feel like if women weren't on this planet, then men would have an overflow of resources? You sound dumb when you say that, because if it weren't for women, you wouldn't even be here on this earth, having this life, having this human experience that you've been waiting to have. Because I do believe that. I do believe that we are spirits waiting to have a human experience, and when we get here, we try to make the best out of it. But we come here to learn lessons, and I get that this is a heavy lesson that Kevin Samuels made him to learn, but he needs to think about what he's saying and think about if it's actually helping his target audience. And I don't know any real man that would go and that would bash women and be like, if women weren't here, then men would be better off. In fact, honestly, I think you might be quite gay. I have an amazing father who has raised all of his children. has put a roof over his family's head. And I don't hear a single thing about him bashing women in the way that people like Kevin Samuels does. Or men who are damaged in general. Men who are damaged bash women. And then they say it's because, oh, women haven't been bashed. You know, women never get bashed. This and only men do. But if you really think about it, men just started getting bashed and called out for their BS. Prior to the 1960s, it was all about women getting bashed. Women were getting slut-shamed. Women were told that they needed to be in the kitchen all day and to raise the family and this, and that, and all that. And it's like, when we wanted better for ourselves, rather than being with the men who are narcissistic, because let's be honest, patriarchy is a narcissistic society on the side of men, because women want better for themselves and to live a happy life and to live the life that they want and choose. Now it's a problem. Now, because we don't do everything that you say as a man that we should be, even though you're not us, it's a problem. Because we practice our basic human right of having the choice to live the life that we want to live. All these men are saying, man, Kevin Samuels is the truth, and I get it, because he feeds your ego. And men are suckers to have their ego fed. I'm not for the BS either way. Women bashing men, men bashing women. And I'm not bashing men. I have an amazing father that I am forever grateful for. So that's really all I wanted to come on here and say. And it's like, to go on, okay, so to go back to talk about like relationships and what I talked about in the previous video, it just boggles my mind. You know, because you have men that bash women and say, you guys are too emotional, and all you guys don't know the facts, you guys never had the facts, you just respond with emotion and blah blah blah. But then when you go back to my video, watch my video, and look at all the comments that were all by pretty much men, maybe one woman commented, and see how most of them responded with emotion. They didn't point out any facts. They responded with emotion, and they were all mad. They were livid. They literally, like, the way that they were on Kevin Samuels it's pretty bad. Honestly, you have men like calling me names. You have men asking for my dress size. You have men saying that I'm average. Even though, come on. Whatever. What's average? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, if we're really being honest with you. A man could have a mother who is buff and strong and meaty as hell and fall in love with another woman just because she looks like his mom. Because that's the kind of woman that he wants. And he wants to have small buff baby kids. Have you seen, not to bring up Game of Thrones again, but you know, Brienne of Tarth, and that one guy who really wanted to marry Brienne because she was big and a monstrous sword fighter, and she was a woman, because he wanted to have her babies. Because he knew that they would be elite. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody wants something different, and that was the point of my other video. Everybody wants something different. So to say that a high value man isn't going to want a woman because she has kids, or she's a certain dress size, or she's a certain height, it's stupid. It's pure stupidity, because everybody likes something different. And to say that a woman, you know, can't have something because, you know, because of, you know, certain things that happen in her life, it's like, it's dumb. People go through things, people go through all kinds of lessons, people have all kinds of different results. It all depends on that person. Everybody has the choice to be who they want to be with who they want to be with, and to live the life that they want to live. And for someone to sit there and say that something is impossible for that person, who are you? Who are you to say that, you know, things aren't possible? It's like one thing that I really dislike about Kevin Samuels, and I don't think I'm better than anybody's. One thing that I don't like about Kevin Samuels is that he makes women who have kids or are over a certain age feel less than other women. And the women who feed off that, like, basically you're full of it, because you're honestly, I don't have kids. I'm 25. And I don't think I'm better than anyone. He judges women. Okay, so for instance, there was one woman who had, I think she had 2 kids, and she was wanting a man, to get a man to be able to just take care of her, not even her kids necessarily, because she had a job. She was able to take care of her kids and herself, but she wanted a man to really help her out with that. He's going to tell her that it's impossible. You might not ever find a man. And if you do find one, it's going to be a low value man. And that's not totally true. If I'm being completely honest with you, that's not totally true. You might not be a man's first choice, but if a man really loves you and if you're compatible with him, he's going to take you up on your offer. If you have a lot to give, if you have a lot to offer, he's going to want that. Anyways, what was I gonna say? So he goes on talking to this girl, and this, you know, the girl's like, I left the baby dad and things like that. She didn't really go into detail. She didn't blame anything on the baby father, but Kevin Samuels like, so why couldn't you keep your man? Like, basically, why couldn't you keep your man? Or why aren't you still with the baby daddy? What about, we don't want to keep these men. Why don't you ever ask that? Why don't you ever ask, well, did you want to keep your man or did you not want to keep your man? And I bet you probably 5 out of 10, no, I'll raise the number even higher. Probably 9 out of 10 times, the woman will say they did not want to keep their man because they were abusive, they were toxic. And she's like, well, I didn't want to be with him. He doesn't know the reasons. A lot of men out there are narcissistic, especially if you're like me and you're raised in a sheltered environment, and then you go into the world not knowing really what to expect or what's out there or how people do things and how people try to manipulate and maneuver around people just to get what they want because they're selfish. She could have been messing with someone that was a complete narcissist and had to get away, who was abusive, emotionally or physically. But let Kevin Samuels, he'll probably say, oh, that man probably wasn't abusive. She's just an emotional woman. You know, some BS like that. Back in the day, women would ask, you know, women would, you know, bash other women by saying, like, you can't even keep a man, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, their man is out there cheating on them every single day. Well, as long as he comes home to me, then that's fine. As long as he comes home to me every night, then that's okay. No, you are raising your kids in a toxic environment. You are allowing your man to be toxic just because you want to keep him. And it's, man, like, you gotta admit, like, I feel like 1,000 years from now, we're gonna look back at the history books and we're gonna look back at the way things were now and previous to now, and we're gonna laugh at the way that we were programmed, that cultures and societies have programmed us to act, enabling men to be toxic, enabling, you know, right now, as you know, a lot of women are toxic, but as a result of what? We got to ask ourselves these questions. It's gonna be hysterical. We're gonna look back and we're gonna say, wow, we were really stupid. The amount of stupidity that humans have it's uncanny, to say the least. And not to bash on any women that, you know, wants to keep their family together so they let their men do whatever, but chances are, and I hope that that doesn't happen to anybody else, but where does that start? I feel like we are taught of like, okay, so religion, one, social norms, two, has taught us an unhealthy way of going about marriage. Because if you get married, then you should not divorce a person. It's against God's will to divorce someone. Although they are toxic for you and they may be killing you from the inside out. It's a completely stupid way of thinking. And I get nobody wants their family to be broken up, but at the same time, you're enabling a person, you're enabling people to basically just sit and not bathe, basically. It's such a toxic way of thinking, and I feel like we are finally getting out of that norm. Just because we marry someone, we have to be with them for the rest of our lives, even though it kills us to be with them. Anyone that believes that God wants you to stay in a marriage just because you married the person when you were at a stage in your life where you were not healed and you were still growing, you should shoot yourself in the foot. And that's basically what you're doing. If you're in a marriage where you're both unhappy every single day, almost every single day there's an argument, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're killing yourself. You think God wants that for you? No. And I'm not gonna lie, my parents' relationship isn't necessarily perfect. If they weren't happy, I wouldn't be mad. Maybe as a child I would be mad if they got separated. But when I grow up as an adult, I will realize that they did it to keep their sanity and to keep themselves happy. As an adult, I will realize that my parents staying together is not what makes me who I am. It's not, happiness doesn't come from what my parents do. Happiness comes from within, is basically what I'm saying. Happiness comes from within. It doesn't come from everybody else and what their decisions are. I have to learn for myself and my own benefit that my happiness comes from within. It doesn't come from anybody else. The way that we view marriage is so completely toxic. On a spiritual level. I just want to get this right, because I get we're down here on earth and we want things to go perfect and we want to survive and things like that. But really, if you're in a toxic marriage, 9 times out of 10, you're teaching your kids toxic traits. Actually, I'm going to say 10 times out of 10 because things trickle down all the time. You're teaching your kids toxic traits. 9 out of 10 times your kids aren't happy. 9 out of 10 times you're raising toxic children as well. If you're in a healthy relationship, then it's better for everybody. As a whole, as a group, as a community. We have a lot of healing to do, guys. And it starts with everybody going within and looking at themselves. It starts with everybody loving themselves first. And then being able to share that love with everybody else. Kevin Samuels, from what you preach, I mean, you may be trying to gain confidence and boost the self-esteem of black men, but it's apparent to those that are sane that you do not love yourself. So my challenge to you is to learn how to love yourself and go within and get healed. Thank you. That's all I got. If you like this video, if you can agree or if you don't agree, let me know in the comments what you think. You know, I'm down for anything. All the men that want to bash me, go ahead, bash me in the comments. Let me know what you think. Women, let me know what you think. This is probably the last time I'm going to talk about Kevin Samuels, but I just wanted to get on here because it's a serious issue. And more than ever right now, we need to unite. We need to unify. And we can't do it if we're steadily bumping heads and saying, you know, women should be like this. And if she's this way, then I don't want her. And if he's that way, then I don't want him. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to compatibility. Sorry, I might not be done. At the end of the day, it comes down to compatibility. Okay? I know that women may want a man that has all this money and things like that because we want to feel secure. But at the same time, you know, we may be praying for a man like that. But at the same time, we have to be open to the package that it comes in. You may want a rich man, but he may come to you as a lower class man that doesn't have money yet, and you guys may build something. Everything that you wanted will come to you just because that's the kind of person that you were praying for. We have to be open to the package that it comes in. The gift that the universe, the gift that God brings us. We have to be open to how it comes. And the same thing with men. So yeah, that's all I have to say. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And I will gladly read them, you know. I enjoy reading the comments. I enjoyed reading the comments on my last Kevin Samuels video, even though they were pretty bad. But yeah, thank you guys for watching my YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, or dislike if you want. It doesn't matter to me. Do what's true to you. Do what you feel in your heart. Listen to your heart. I won't judge you. But yeah, you guys have a great rest of your day or week or year, whenever you guys are seeing this. And I will chat with you guys later.